My journey has always been about one thing: people. No matter where I went, it was the faces, the stories, and the laughter that truly shaped my experience. The world is vast, but it's the connections we make that give it meaning. I set out to visit every country in the world, not just to see places, but to connect with the human spirit. I wanted to understand what makes us different, and what brings us together, across borders and cultures. Asia was a massive chapter. Ancient traditions, futuristic cities, and endless surprises. Every day felt like stepping into a new story, where the past and future collided in the most unexpected ways. My plan was simple: start in Southeast Asia, soak in every sight, sound, and flavor. I wanted to lose myself in the chaos and beauty, to taste everything, and to listen to every story I could find. I expected incredible food, stunning temples, and bustling markets, and got all that, plus more. The energy was contagious, and every corner held a new discovery, from hidden alleyways to grand monuments. Each country promised a unique story, its own rhythm, its own flavor, its own way of welcoming strangers like me. Japan's blend of tradition and tech, Vietnam's resilient history, Thailand's vibrant street life. Every destination was a world within a world, each with its own heartbeat. I was chasing the classic backpacker dream, and every day was a new adventure. From sunrise hikes to midnight train rides, I was always searching for the next unforgettable moment. But there was one country I barely thought about: the Philippines. It was just a name on my map, a place I'd heard little about compared to its famous neighbors. I knew it had beaches, but so did many places. I imagined it would be just another tropical stop, a place to rest before moving on. It was just another stop on a long list, until it wasn't. Sometimes, the places you overlook are the ones that surprise you the most. With low expectations, I arrived, thinking it'd be a relaxing break. I was ready for a pause, a chance to catch my breath before the next big adventure. Little did I know, this archipelago of over 7,000 islands was about to shatter my expectations. The landscapes were breathtaking, but it was the warmth of the people that truly stood out. The Philippines would teach me a lesson about travel, people, and what truly makes a place unforgettable. It wasn't just about the scenery, it was about the kindness, the smiles, and the sense of belonging I found there. It would redefine my entire Asian experience. Suddenly, the journey wasn't just about ticking off countries, but about finding meaning in unexpected places. Sometimes, the places you expect the least from end up meaning the most. The greatest adventures often begin where your expectations end. I was about to find out why. The Philippines was more than a destination. It was a turning point in my journey. The real adventure was just beginning. And as I set out to explore these islands, I realized that sometimes the best stories are the ones you never saw coming. My Asian adventure began with a bang, the kind of excitement that makes your heart race as you step into a world so different from your own. The anticipation was electric, and I couldn't wait to see what lay ahead. In Thailand, I navigated the chaotic, colorful streets of Bangkok, weaving through crowds and tuk-tuks, sampling spicy street food that tingled my taste buds, and marveling at the golden temples that shimmered in the sunlight. Every corner was alive with energy and possibility. In Vietnam, I rode a motorbike along the breathtaking Hai Van Pass, the wind whipping past as I hugged the curves of the mountain road, surrounded by lush green hills and dramatic ocean views. By night, I wandered the lantern-lit streets of Hoi An, where ancient buildings glowed softly, and the air was filled with the scent of incense and the sound of laughter. Cambodia's Angkor Wat at sunrise felt like stepping back in time, as the first light revealed intricate carvings and silent stone faces, making me feel small in the presence of history. Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur amazed me with its dazzling skyline and vibrant cultural diversity, where mosques, temples, and skyscrapers stood side by side. Penang's food scene was a revelation. Each meal was a new adventure, bursting with flavors I'd never imagined, from spicy curries to sweet desserts. I was collecting experiences, ticking boxes on my bucket list, and loving every minute. Each day brought a new story, a new memory to cherish. In South Korea and Japan, I glimpsed the future in Seoul's neon-lit streets where technology and tradition blended seamlessly. In Kyoto, I found the harmony of old and new, ancient temples beside modern buildings, food that was crafted like art, people who were unfailingly polite, and cities that buzzed with life and order. Asia was a continent of contrasts, bustling megacities that never slept, and peaceful landscapes where time seemed to slow down. The sheer variety was breathtaking, but as I traveled, a pattern emerged. While the sights were stunning, interactions with locals often felt reserved, as if there was an invisible barrier I couldn't cross. It was easy to be a tourist, to observe from the outside, but much harder to connect deeply and truly understand the people and their stories. I craved more than just seeing. I wanted to truly understand, to be part of the culture, not just a passerby. I was an observer, not yet a participant, always on the edge of something deeper. Something was missing, a real connection, a sense of belonging that went beyond sightseeing. I hoped the next country would be different, that I'd finally find the connection I was searching for, and that my journey would become more than just a whirlwind tour. My flight touched down in Manila, the vibrant and bustling capital of the Philippines, a city that never seems to sleep. As I stepped outside the airport, I was immediately enveloped by a thick, humid air and a symphony of sounds. Jeepneys weaving through the endless traffic, tricycles darting between cars, and horns blaring in a language all their own. The city's energy was palpable, almost overwhelming yet strangely inviting. The chaos wasn't just noise, it had a rhythm, a pulse that everyone seemed to understand. There was a strange sense of order beneath the surface, as if the city itself was choreographed in its own unique way. My taxi driver greeted me with a huge, infectious smile and genuine curiosity, not just about where I was headed, but about who I was and what brought me to his city. His warmth was immediate and disarming. In just 30 minutes, I found myself having a more personal and heartfelt conversation than I'd had in weeks back home. We talked about family, food, and the best places to explore in Manila. English was everywhere, on street signs, in conversations at cafes, and in every interaction, making it effortless to connect with locals and fellow travelers alike. When I arrived at my hostel, the staff welcomed me like an old friend, instantly making me feel at home. They invited me to join them for dinner, eager to share stories and laughter. Other travelers echoed the same sentiment. "The people here are just different," they said, marveling at the kindness and openness that seemed to be everywhere. Manila is a city of striking contrasts. Gleaming modern malls stand beside centuries-old Spanish colonial churches, and the old and new blend seamlessly. But through it all, the one constant is the warmth and generosity of its people. That first night, as I wandered through the neon-lit streets of Makati, I felt the city's joyful energy pulsing all around me. The nightlife was alive, and the streets buzzed with excitement and possibility. I'd expected Manila to be just another stopover on the way to the country's famous beaches, but the city quickly revealed itself as the true heart of the Philippines. The magic wasn't in the buildings or the busy streets, it was in the genuine smiles, the spontaneous conversations, and the way strangers became friends in an instant. My perspective was already shifting, and I found myself reflecting on how travel is really about the people you meet and the connections you make. The Philippines was turning out to be so much more than I had ever imagined, a place of beauty, contrast, and endless discovery. I was just beginning to understand what made this country truly special, and I couldn't wait to see what else it had in store. The real magic, I realized, was in the welcome, the open arms and open hearts of the Filipino people. After Manila, I flew to Palawan, nature at its most spectacular. El Nido's limestone cliffs and turquoise bays were jaw-dropping. Island hopping on a banca, I found hidden lagoons. I discovered secret beaches. I swam with sea turtles. Lunch was grilled fish on the boat, shared with new friends and the sound of waves. The crew weren't just guides, they were proud hosts, sharing their home. In Coron, I hiked to Kayangan Lake for a view that burned itself into my memory. Palawan wasn't just about beaches, it was wild, untouched wonder. Every stop felt like discovering a lost world. The Philippines was revealing itself as a place of world-class natural beauty, but it was the people who made it unforgettable, nature and humanity perfectly intertwined. Before coming, I barely knew Filipino food, just adobo maybe. In Manila, I dove into carinderias, sampling caldereta, sinigang, and crispy lechon kawali. The flavors were bold, sour, salty, sweet, all at once. I fell for sinigang's comforting tang and sisig's sizzling savory kick. Street food was an adventure, kwek kwek I saw, and the wild, colorful halo halo. The best meals were shared, sometimes with strangers, sometimes with families who welcomed me into their homes. Eating with my hands, Kamayan style, made every meal communal and special. Filipino food was about more than taste, it was about generosity and connection. The cuisine reflected the Filipino heart, warm, inventive, and full of surprises. To understand the food, you had to understand the people. Every bite was a lesson in culture and kindness. If I had to describe the Philippines in one word, it's people. From the moment I arrived, I was treated as a guest, not a tourist. Smiles were sincere, help was always offered, and curiosity was genuine. Hospitality, pakikipagkapwa-tao, ran deep, making every encounter meaningful. In villages, I played basketball with kids and shared merienda with families. Language barriers faded in the face of laughter and kindness. Festivals were everywhere, parades, music, food, and open doors for strangers. Generosity was the norm, not the exception. Despite challenges, Filipinos found joy in small things, singing, laughing, supporting each other. Karaoke was more than a pastime, it was an expression of spirit. The Filipino people taught me happiness is about attitude and community. Their resilience and warmth were the country's greatest treasures. The heart of the islands beat strongest in its people. Comparing my travels, I finally understood why the Philippines felt so different. In many countries, I was an outsider, admiring from a distance. In the Philippines, that wall disappeared. I was a participant, not just a spectator. Island hopping meant singing and sharing stories with new friends, not just following a guide. Eating sisig wasn't just a meal, it was a shared experience with strangers turned friends. The high level of English made real conversations possible, about dreams, politics, and life. I connected on a human level, not just as a tourist. The Philippines felt less like a destination, more like a home. Beautiful beaches exist everywhere, but the Filipino spirit is unique. It's the feeling of being welcomed into a family, of sharing laughter with strangers. The human element made the Philippines rise above all the other places I'd seen. Here, I found a new favorite country. My trip to the Philippines changed my view of travel. I arrived expecting beaches. I left with a deep appreciation for a soulful nation. The countries you hear least about often have the most to offer. The Philippines taught me to focus on the who, not just the what. My best memories were about people, the fishermen, the family, the kids. Filipino hospitality was on another level, proactive, joyful, unconditional. Generosity wasn't about wealth, but spirit. I learned to embrace the unexpected. Chaos became beauty, strange foods became favorites. The country I knew least became the one I loved most. The real magic of travel is in unplanned moments and genuine connections. I stopped being a tourist ticking boxes and became a traveler embracing the world's beautiful unpredictability. The Philippines taught me to let the journey unfold. If you're looking for your next adventure, put the Philippines at the top of your list. You'll find stunning nature, vibrant culture, and most importantly, heartwarming people. Don't just go for the Instagram beaches, go to connect. Learn a few Tagalog words, smile, say hello, and accept every invitation. Try the food, sing karaoke, step out of your comfort zone. The connections you make will outshine any souvenir. The Philippines is a country with a soul as bright as its sun. It reminds you of life's simple joys, a sunset, a meal, a shared laugh. This journey will change how you see the world. So what are you waiting for? Book that ticket. Go discover the 7,000 islands of wonder. Find out why it's more fun in the Philippines. You'll come back with a new favorite country and a heart full of memories.